Well, I would like to thank you very much for, I think this is actually our very first I3L, I would say, podcast that we would like to try for our promotion and branding as well. So it happens to be that you guys are the very first guests that come to I3L. So we would like to uh, thank you very much for your willingness to be interviewed by me, basically. So my name is Sani, and I'm the Vice Rector 3. So I handle the marketing and institutional development. And one of the department that I handle is also international collaboration. So your visit was arranged by my team. So with you, we have Professor Martina Micheletti. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Michele.
Micheletti. Okay. Martina Micheletti and Miss Dorothy Ferary.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe, Prof. Martina, can you please introduce a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm a professor in the Department of Biochemical Engineering at UCL. I come from Italy, and I am a chemical engineer. And then I moved to London, where I did my PhD, and I did my academic career in the Department of Biochemical Engineering. I'm currently the director of a big project, which is a VAXUP, which makes vaccines for pandemic preparedness, but also vaccines for low middle income countries.
Great. Okay. Okay. Interesting. And you, yes, Dorothy?
So I am a lecturer at the UCL Institute of Education. So my background is actually on business, not in education, but my PhD is about education, but my master degree, I did development management at the London School of Economics. And recently I helped establish a new university in Indonesia. Yes.
Wow.
It's called Satya Bhinneka University in Medan.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. So it is actually a very diverse background between you, Prof. Martina, and Prof. Dorothy. So maybe when maybe I will go first to you, Prof. Martina. So when you mentioned about the very big project of preparing vaccine for epidemic for pandemic, so in what capacity are you in your role in those kind of projects? What are you doing in that kind of projects, and what are the things that become your main responsibility in that projects? Can you explain to us a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So my main role is as a director of this entity, which is VAXUP, and I'm responsible for the coordination of the research. So the hub funds 20 early career researchers working in different academic institutions in the UK, and they work on very different projects. The expertise of the team is very varied, from synthetic biology to vaccinology, or process engineering to modeling, and they all work together to do research to make better vaccines.
So it is a non-profit or for-profit organization, or how is it?
It is an organization it is a network that receives funding from the UK government and then sponsors this type of research. We also are responsible for building a community. So we created a network of companies. Companies can join, and then they have access to the research that we do.
So far, so far, do you have already companies that actually join in your network? You have already.
Yes, because the first edition of the network started in 2018, so prior to the pandemic.
So prior to the pandemic.
Yes,
Wow.
it is a UCL Oxford collaboration, and the work that we were doing really supported the development of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccine. And actually, we had one Indonesian lady, Karina Jo, was actually an early career researcher in Oxford in the first edition of the VAXUP. And we had a big network of companies that joined, and there is one from Indonesia as well, PT Biopharma.
Oh, yeah. It is PT Biopharma is a government-owned company. So you guys already prepared that prior way before the COVID came, actually. So when COVID came, are you guys more ready, or Are you guys still surprised, or how is it back then?
So in 2018, we had funding to speed up the manufacture of vaccines for low middle income countries. And our companies were PT Biopharma, we had a company in Bangladesh, one in Vietnam, but we didn't have much interest from other large biopharma. We had this vision that we had to do more rapid development using more responsive technologies. And this is why we had a critical mass of researchers in UCL and Oxford working together with different expertise, and that really helped during the pandemic. Then after the pandemic, obviously, vaccines became more popular and vaccine development, people really had more attention into this is a problem. We do need capacity in this space.
So one more question before I move to Miss Dorothy. So after the pandemic, right now people don't use masks anymore. I mean, it's now become more of a regular thing. I mean, we believe that COVID is still there, obviously, but people maybe are already vaccinated. We are more normalized with the thing. So how's your research going on after the pandemic right
This is
now?
a very good question, because our research is linked to commercial and financial interests. And we are very glad that the government decided to fund us for 7 years in the case of Vaxab Sustainable Entity. I think that there is still interest in vaccines. The research we do is on platform technologies, so we don't just focus on a specific disease. We focus on novel technologies that can be potentially applicable to multiple vaccines, so to vaccine against multiple pathogens. And I think there is an outbreaks everywhere in the world of dengue, mpox, really demonstrated that there is the need to still progress multiple technologies to be more prepared for the next pandemic.
So in a nutshell, your project is still going strong.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay, so now I will move on to you, Prof. Dorothy.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your PhD was in education, right?
That's
But
true.
your
Yes. Education and
master-
development.
Education and development, but your master was in business,
Development
right?
management, that's
Development
correct. Yes.
management. So how do you see the combination between business and education, and what's your motivation or your passion behind those kind of things?
All right. So I actually started my undergraduate research about higher education. I look at the students' perspective about what is a reputable university. Like in our mind, when we talk about reputation, it's about QS university ranking or rankings, but apparently it's much more than that in students' mind. It talks about facilities, the professors, So as a marketer, you need to know what's in the students' mind in order to get their attention, interest. So that was my undergraduate research.
Where? Sorry if I cut. Where did you do your undergraduate research? Here in Indonesia, or
no? So I did it Inter College Malaysia. It was a British university degree, University of Hertfordshire.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and after that, I am interested in looking again about higher education, but this time I'm interested in looking at how university influence the income earning between male and female in Indonesia. So I did that at the London School of Economics. And so for my PhD, I would like to see the impacts of Indonesian university towards women. So although my background is business development management, but my topic has always been higher education. And that's why I thought one significant role that university has is actually to address issues that, happening in the society. And I think that is relevant to in Indonesia, we have three dharma perguruan tinggi, right? We have teaching, research, and community engagement.
Yes.
And I think to look at those roles is very important. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. That's why I'm helping out to establish a new university in Indonesia.
So with all of those years of research experience and knowledge about higher education, development, and business, how do you see education industry right now, especially in Indonesia?
Right. Not just in Indonesia, in other parts of the world as well, education has been commercialized. A lot of good quality education often cost a lot, right? And this is where we need the society to start rethink how we educate. So the Indonesian government has done really well, I think, for providing various scholarship programs. Like, for example, the ISMA, LPDP, exactly, right? And even the British government also with the Chevening Scholarship, so that's some of the ways to provide access to good quality education. But I think if we look at Indonesia as a country, we need to start from the quality of lecturer. So that's the starting point. Personally, I think that the lecturers, Indonesian lecturers, are heavily burdened with administration work rather than doing research or teaching. A lot of time spent to do administration. And I think recently Ibu Wamen, Professor Stella mentioned that we need to do research as lecturers. Go out and then do research, and we need to put more research emphasis and research-based university. I think that is the first thing that we need to address. We need to have more fundings for research, develop our research capacity for lecturers, know how to conduct ethical business, ethical research, and just create an environment, research environment. And I think this is what UCL is very good, because we've done lots of research worldwide, and I think in the UK, for my department, Institute of Education, it's one of the highest research center studies in the UK. So yes, I think that's what we should do now.
Yeah. So speaking about your experience in education and business, right? And also, if we are talking about the pandemic, how do you see education has changed because of COVID? Because before COVID, everything is offline, face to face. But now we have a lot of hybrid program.
Absolutely,
we have a lot of online program. So how do you see these changes in the mode of learning? Is it good enough, or is it still not there? How do you see it?
Well, of course, the pandemic has traumatized us with a bad experience. But I think the silver lining here is that because of the pandemic, we realized that we can actually do things in hybrid. And therefore, now there are more partnership that is done between Indonesian institutions and also overseas. So you see lots of online webinars involving various professors from different parts of the world. Like recently, UCL also collaborate with my university in Medan. So we had Education for Sustainable Day. So we have a professor from UCL, from Brunei, from Nottingham University, and we all can meet through an online platform. So I think now the collaboration between institutions, the opportunity is huge. The world is your oyster, right? So no longer you have to travel to attend conferences. Some conferences are now done through hybrid. You can join online. And of course, it's good to see, to be in person. Like, for example, Martina and I are here in Indonesia. It's good to see you in person, to meet students, to meet other academics in Indonesia. That's great, But it's not the only option. There are options, to do it online as well. So I think it does change the higher education and the potential to do collaboration, absolutely.
So it moves into a right direction, you would say? Or how is it?
I would say more opportunities, expand the opportunities to, a lot more as compared to before, yes.
Yeah. So, Prof. Martina, speaking about this online, hybrid, etc., you were speaking about the facts cap about network of many different countries. So right now we are in the era of hybrid online meeting. How does it improve your network, or how does it affect your network?
Um, so in the WhatsApp, as you said, I mean, there are a number of companies, and the issue is that whenever I have a meeting in London, that usually is a full day. We must have now a sort of a streaming option, and it's very difficult to decide the time zone because I have collaborators in Brazil, I have in the US, and I have collaborators in the Southeast Asia as well, and in Africa. So I'll give you one idea, which I have not developed yet, but I'm planning to. Hybrid definitely opens up the opportunity, but to do proper networking, face-to-face remains the gold standard, and I think hybrid is not always very effective. So my idea, and don't copy that, it would be to create I'm investing some bucks of money to make the networking and the access to research a bit more accessible by creating a virtual workshop. So by creating a virtual reality space where our researchers from their own computer can access the environment, present a poster with their avatars, and everybody in the world can connect. For example, there are versions that do not need not the mask, but the visor, the VR. Exactly, we can send that, and it would be definitely cheaper and more sustainable than flying everybody over to London. So that would be my idea. So maybe I'll show you next time.
That would be great. But so, in terms of expanding your network, do you think is it still, as Ms. Dorothy mentioned, giving you more opportunities right now with all the online
Absolutely.
conference and things
Absolutely.
like
I
that?
mean, I do think that, coming to a country, going to a country, going to visit companies, etc., is still very much appreciated. And this personal touch is important. But definitely with the hybrid, you can sort of maintain communications and have the very effective meetings sustainably and low cost.
Okay. Good. So I will come to my maybe very few last questions. So in terms of UCL coming to i3L, I believe you're not only visiting us, you visited other institutions as well. May I know what's the main purposes of your visit to Indonesia?
Yeah, I can start. So in the department, we're very interested in bringing some very good students to our master's program. So boosting our postgraduate recruitment, but not only. We want to have exchanges, student exchanges, and the international degree that you have here, essentially, especially in my area of biochemical engineering, is a very good fit. But also boosting research collaborations. So get to know other academics, the type of research that they do, and possibly have exchange not only at master's but also at the doctoral student level. I had another aim, which was also to visit a few companies. So I visited, I met with the 3 pharmaceutical companies in Indonesia.
All related to the fat scopage?
Related to vaccines, but also to biosimilar production, so to other biopharmaceuticals. And they're very interested in joining the hub, but also in remaining contact.
Sure. Okay. From you, is it the same or how is it?
Well, I think it's maybe a slightly different because I am Indonesian, right? So for me, I think to return back to Indonesia is actually to help to bridge UK-Indonesia collaboration. So a lot of Indonesians sometimes find it difficult to do partnership with institutions abroad because they don't have, in Bahasa Indonesia, we said orang dalam. the insider, right?
Right.
To open up the door of opportunities, right? So my visit to Indonesia, I've been I've been invited to several guest lecture, and then we talk about potential collaboration within my department, the Institute of Education, and so for those who don't know, the UCL Institute of Education is actually, according to QS University ranking, is the number 1 in the world for education. So I went to Jakarta State University, which is a teacher training university. So hopefully in the future we will see more educators from Indonesia to study at the world best institution. So that's my personal aspiration, to see more Indonesians at UCL.
So so you came basically to expand UCL network
Absolutely,
to Indonesia, but with more slightly or more specific aims from each of you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm interested in what you mentioned before, Ms. Dorothy, in a way that you came here, you want to act as a bridge between Indonesian institution and UK's institution. So in what capacity are you acting towards that?
Right. So it really depends on the needs of the Indonesian university. If they already have good collaboration, good network, for example, several big universities in Indonesia already have good relationship with UCL. So probably I'm helping out only if there's any project or visits to UCL. But some universities, they really do not know where to start. So maybe, what I did sometimes is to meet with them, their representative told them, like, these are the options that we can work together. So, for example, through ISMA program, through research collaboration, applying for funding together, those kind of things. Or as simple as like being a guest lecturer or online speakers to share what my expertise to universities in Indonesia. And sometimes also to share about the research environment at UCL, to kind of give an idea with Indonesian lecturers, this is how you do research. Because some of the universities that I went to, they didn't even know that you need to get ethics approval in order to do their research. And I should say that at UCL, you need to get your ethics approved first before you actually collect your data, And there's, those kind of best practices that, lecturers in Indonesia can learn. Yes.
Yeah. Things a little bit different here in Indonesia, let's say, in terms of research.
Yes, but I think that's the importance of having an Indonesian diaspora, abroad. And in the UK, I think we have around 60 Indonesian academics in UK university, and many of them actually has contributed back to Indonesia by further strengthening the UK-Indonesia relationship. And I think that's great. And absolutely.
So do you think language is a barrier?
Yes, I think so. Yes, although some big universities, and I think in i3L, your English is the medium, right? So it might not be a barrier that much as compared to other universities. But yes, English language could be a barrier. But I think we also have to start thinking to build a more inclusive education, higher education, that we shouldn't only focusing on English language only, but also other languages like Mandarin or Spanish or, Italian, So because most of the journals, good reputable journals, are all English language, right? And imagine if you are a lecturer in a small university in Indonesia, trying to get some inspiration, trying to gain more knowledge, and then you can't even access the
knowledge.
The knowledge, exactly. Yeah. How are they going to improve? So I think in some journals they actually have started to translate the articles that they publish not just into English, but also other languages. Or some journals accept papers that are not just English, but also Spanish, and other languages. And I think that is a good practice.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. So that's all from me. This has been a very productive, short interviews, podcast, whatever they would say, my team will say. So, do you have any question for me about i3L?
No, but I must say I was very impressed with the presentation from the faculty, and the combination of the life science and the business and project-based learning that you have here. And I was very impressed also with the questions. In the workshop. You have some very good students, and I think can speak for both of us. We would be very happy to have them for UCL.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.